What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access, and today for Best Albums, we're joined by Murs. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And Murs has selected E-40's Element of Surprise for his best album.
Yes.
This album dropped in '98 and was a double album.
Yes.
So for you, Murs, what makes this a best album?
I love Tupac, I love Biggie. Everybody knows they're great guys, but Element of Surprise is the best double album of all time.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah,
okay.
It is. I think it's just from beginning to end, it was amazing. It was the beginning of my love affair with E-40.
Okay.
I liked Hall of Game, I love Major Way, but he became my favorite rapper with this album.
So what, obviously 40 had a thick catalog even before Element of Surprise, but why did this album change from what Hall of Game had been, from what In a Major Way had been?
I feel like everyone that kind of LA and the Bay, kind of like the West Coast, he merged the West Coast. I didn't think about that. Like on my new album, I kind of tried to get people from the Bay, LA and San Diego, and try to bring everybody together.
Right.
He had J.O. Felony,
Sibo,
Sacramento,
Be Legit, of course.
Be Legit, Mac 10.
Yeah.
Silky Fine was on the album. He had a female. It was just all elements of West Coast, and then West Coast gangster rap was dope, and it wasn't the earlier 90s, I don't want to say, I'll say it if I have to, but like kind of like cooning West Coast rap, like, yeah, man, blah, 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 like Jerry Curl, like overdone shit. It was just right. Real, we weren't showing out like, you know, West Coast wasn't on anymore, but he was still he made an authentic record that was very West Coast with people that, like Silky Fine had a hit.
Right.
You know, like you couldn't go to the swap meet without hearing her. Like he had her involved. It was everything that was happening. Really, if you were living in the hood, like it was really what was happening. Hope I Don't Go Back to Slang and Yell is probably one of his best songs ever.
Yeah. So with that one, I always thought it was great because you have with the singing in the chorus, and of course, I just thought it was hilarious that here we have a song about, you know, not trying to do drugs or sell drugs and stuff, but he did it in the chorus. I think just made it like a totally different feel to the record. Instead of being like a somber record or that, it kind of changed the tenor of the song. So for you, when you were hearing it, what made it stand out to you thematically or sonically?
The Earth, Wind and Fire, I think it's Earth, Wind and Fire, da, 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 da. So that was great. That was like ghetto classic. And then to me, how specific he was getting, like he started out with hopping over fences, you're hopping over barbed wire. I had this one broad in a VHS can, and I like knowing the things those things were like, people, for better or worse, people talk shit, but Plies is another one of those rappers where he says things
that are really happening.
And then my friends that really sell a lot of dope, they say Jeezy's the same way. Like if he'll say things and you're like, man, if you haven't sold dope, you really, like if you haven't visited someone in jail, you don't know the things that Plies put in his raps about, you know what I mean, about going to visit. And because he's really been visiting his brother when he was locked up, like things like that. And with E-40, like hiding money in a VHS, dope in a VHS, like fake, like you know.
Right.
So it was just, and he started off with that, and then he's telling the authenticity of it, like over there by the railroad tracks, like hopping there, like he's telling the whole thing, like ready to Rodney King me to death. So what, like he's just, it was so real, so authentic, and then his style is so authentic. It was just everything I love about rappers. Like I believe you, you're unique, and it's hitting because the hook was like I said, Earth, Wind and Fire hook. So it was just everything. It was unique, different, but still familiar, and a very real tale. Just that song alone let me know, like, oh my God, he's back. Like it's about to be on. Yeah,
and I think too the fact that at that time the double album era was in full effect. But I think even with 40, with Element of Surprise, the fact that he had a lot of guests on the album and it was a double album, but I didn't ever get the sense that not only was he not being overshadowed, but it didn't seem like the guests were like kind of conspicuous.
Yeah, no.
On some of the albums, it's like, okay, they're just doing that for whatever reason, but not doing it from an artistic standpoint. And I thought that's one of the things to me that made Element of Surprise so good, that he had a lot of guests. Like, yeah, Busta Rhymes on there, but it sounded natural.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a forced situation where I think a lot of people that kind of get outside their lanes sonically or what you would think that they would work with, it just...
Yeah, no, it made, he got like for me personally, like I've been on Strange now 3 albums, and I haven't had Tech 9 on any album of them. Cause I learned from 40, it's like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And you can't force it, you know what I mean? And he doesn't ever really force it. And now people know him, he's established himself so much, when people come rap with him, they get in his pocket.
Right.
So I don't know if it's him not deviating, it's people know, oh, it's a 40 record, I gotta do this. But still, he's put up so many people from the Bay that, yeah, that album was just, man, I'm trying to think of what other songs there were.
Well, there was also, it's funny now that Drama had his hit with Broccoli recently, because 40 had his Broccoli song on here.
And there was so many, like his, on that album was, I might be rich and I rap, but shit, $100 worth of food stamps for $45, thought I wasn't finna bite on that. I was like, oh my God! Cause I was doing literally the same shit, like coming off a tour and just like still doing shit like that. Like the homies be like, I got these food stamps, for sure. Are you crazy? Yes. Like still buying bootleg movies, like still eating at the same places, like, but having like my Cadillac and my rap, it was just so perfect for me at a time in my life where E-40 is just such a, and then, what's the other one? The last song is like, I shot my first video for $20, motherfucker. You know, oh my God. It just talks about being, I worked at Mickey D's, employee of the month. Living above my means, motherfucker, that's a bold-faced lie. Popo's record, I got an alibi. What the fuck, man? He was just so, like, I sold a lot of drugs, but I also worked at McDonald's like, just so smart, and man, changed that record. I don't say changed my life, but it made me feel like I was on the right path in my life.
In what way?
Just like you can still be doing, what are the white people, hood rat shit.
Okay.
But being authentic and being professional, you're not, just because you're ghetto doesn't mean you're stupid.
Right, right.
And he's a very ghetto rapper, but he's far from stupid, you know?
Yeah.
And far from, and not done with his money. And he's also offering, a lot of people say it, but don't do it. Like, he's really spitting game. He's giving you shit like, oh shit.
Yeah, and that's why I think that 40's been able to evolve and adapt so well, because, you know, before Element of Surprise, I think he had gotten kind of pigeonholed a lot with kind of his like ad-libs and rapping off beat and the style that he was using. But I think by the time we get to Charlie Hustle and we get to Element of Surprise, and really on Hall of Game, I think is where it started changing.
Yeah.
But by the time we get to Element of Surprise, I think we see 40 becoming more well-rounded. Might not be the right way to phrase it, but it just seemed like he was coming into his own artistically. And I think that that's why, that's kind of the jumping point with the Charlie Hustle album, and then with the Element of Surprise, where we see this explosion of the volume of songs, the double albums, the multiple projects all at the same time.
Yeah, I think he knows, he hit a stride, like, for real. And I think he had established his character, like, we were more used to him. Like, this is what he does, this is what he sounds like. What's the other line was the flashing when he said, I bought $150 worth of liquor and they tried to charge me for some ice, and I started like literally happening to me. Like, you gonna charge me for plastic cups and ice right now? I just bought 3 bottles of Hennessy, 2 bottles of Alizé. Like, are you shitting me right now?
Right.
I gotta go back in my pocket, I gotta go to the house and get more money? Oh man, it was, yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing project. And I think too that it really shows with E-40 and his catalog now that he's putting out. When he drops albums, he's really dropping 3 albums, sometimes 4 albums, and no less than 2 it seems at this point. But when you look back at Element of Surprise, it's just amazing that he was able to make such a high quality double album. And even at the time when people were starting to do it, that E-40 wasn't on the notoriety scale outside of the rap world. He wasn't on the notoriety scale of Wu-Tang or Tupac or Biggie or even Bone that were all doing it.
Double, I didn't even think about that.
And then when he came out and did it, that was more like for the rap world. And to me, that was an amazing thing that he did on his own. So it was amazing, man. So as you look back, what do you think is the legacy of Element of Surprise?
What do you mean by legacy?
Like how does it, other than you personally, like what do you think it means to rap, or what do you think it means to E-40 as far as his history?
Man, I think it solidified him as whether they want to give it to him or not. I think that around that time after that was like when he got the XXL interview. Because being an E-40 fan, I didn't see him in magazines. I didn't see him.
Right.
Like,
other than Murder Dog.
Yeah, Murder Dog. Shout out Murder Dog. yeah, I think that solidified him as one of those ones. He wasn't Tupac's weird friend from the Bay. He wasn't, you know, Too Short's friend from Rappers Ball. Like, he was him, and he was still making hits. And because I think what he did, East Coast, West Coast, what I didn't know was like at that point I was traveling, like dudes in the projects, when you do a Earth, Wind and Fire melody, New Yorkers will fuck with you. Like that's when he became a character to New Yorkers. Like I don't really fuck with him. Like, I argue with a lot of my New York partners. Like Dub C and E-40 are like M.O.P. to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want them motherfuckers yelling in my ear, but I respect the fuck out of Dance and Fame. Like it may not be my shit, but that's some New York shit that I fuck with. I know it's authentic, and I think 40 became that for the rap world at that point. Like down south, East Coast, you knew, oh 40, yeah, but he had that common ground with that Earth, Wind and Fire. Cause they might not know any other song off of Element of Surprise, but that Hope I Don't Go Bad, like everybody knows that. Cause the hook was so funny, and there's crack nationwide, so people were getting it. He used the get dope, which was everywhere, and a melody, which was universal, at least in the black community, and I think that solidified him nationwide. And if people bothered to pick up the album, I'm sure they were pleasantly surprised, because it was a solid record, and I think he felt more. I think it just felt good, man. So I hope for him and his legacy, it means that, and for hip hop around, it was definitely a stamp for the Bay Area. Like we're still here. We're not gonna fade into obscurity. We're not a region that was on and off. Like this is, and he became the ambassador for the Bay, for better or worse. You know what I mean? Mac Dre wasn't there due to circumstances. The Looney's short. Like everything was kind of.
Yeah.
Everybody.
At that time, Short was in Atlanta.
Yeah. So it's like he had the Bay. I'm still here. I make Bay Area rap, and I still make hits, and I'm still going gold. So I think that was like he kept the Bay, whether people want to say it or not, like kept it alive. And like I'm sure if you ask anybody that was part of the hyphy movement or the New Bay, that record means a lot to them as well. Because then it, like Frontline, the Team, Fab, Clyde Carson, like everybody was Federation. Yeah, Rick Rock, like it kept money and attention in the Bay.
Well, there it is, y'all. That's why it's the best album, Element of Surprise, E-40. Thank you for coming through, Murs.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure, man.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, Unique Access, Soren Baker.